straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, the ICC Champions Trophy deadlock continues with no dates or scheduling for the tournament that is set to take place in Pakistan being announced yet. And in the middle of all of this, Pakistan is trying to revive the floundering PSL or the Pakistan Super League. They're reportedly looking at the players who went unsold at the Indian Premier League auctions to be a part of their player draft, trying to ape the IPL and give PSL an amp up. What else is Pakistan planning to copy? And we bring an exclusive interview with India's top singles player Sumit Nagal, who speaks about the year that was, his goals, and of course, shed some light and his thoughts on the controversial Davis Cup episode that happened some months back in a candid chat. But first, a look at the headlines. Starting with cricket, South Africa registered an 11-run victory over Pakistan in the first of the three-match T20 international series. South Africa's George Lind was the player of the match for his all-round display. Lind smashed 48 runs with the bat and then took 4 wickets too. Moving to football and the Champions League, Liverpool secured a 1-0 victory over Girona. Mohamed Salah scored the only goal of the match in the 63rd minute. In another game, Real Madrid beat Italian club Atlanta 3-2. Kylian Mbappe opened the scoring for Madrid. Despite Atlanta striking twice, Vinicius Jr. and Jude Bellingham, of course, saw them through. Formula One. Ferrari has signed a multi-year agreement with F1's upcoming team Cadillac. Cadillac, which will become the 11th team from 2026, will get its engine and gearboxes supplied from Ferrari. A written confirmation from Formula One's governing body, FIA, is awaited. NBA star Steph Curry and his wife Ayesha Curry have donated $700,000 for meals and groceries to families in Oakland. The couple have also pledged to generate $25 million to improve child literacy in Oakland. On to swimming, US Olympic champion Gretchen Walsh set a new world record in the 50-meter butterfly category. The 21-year-old set a mark of 24.02 during the heats of the Short Course World Championship. Walsh surpassed the previous best of 24.38 that was set by Sweden's Therese Alshammar in 2009. Right, the ICC Champions Trophy that is supposed to be held in Pakistan next year remains in a deadlock. No official announcements have been made regarding the dates or the schedule of the event. And even as the uncertainty around this continues regarding the timeline, how and the where, former Pakistan cricketers have not stopped rambling and venting on how Pakistan needs to boycott the whole thing. So things really sitting on a knife's edge here for Pakistan cricket. In the middle of all of this, of course, there's a league that needs tending to, the PSL or the Pakistan Super League. Now, post the IPL, the Indian Premier League, countries all over started leagues of their own. Of course, the idea was to replicate the kind of success that IPL has already generated in terms of the quality of the cricket, the finances that are coming through, the revenue, the audience interest in stadium attendance, all of it. Now, while the Indian Premier League has galloped and raced ahead in the decade that it's run, the other leagues are still playing catch-up. And PSL, as among the rest, has been one of the worst performers. And I'll show you the various parameters that will only reiterate what I'm saying. Pakistan realizes this, which is why now they're trying to get the unsold players at the IPL auction just last month to come over and be a part of the PSL players draft. More on that in just a bit. So how far behind is PSL lagging when we pit it against the other cricketing T20 leagues around the world? Let's first look at how long these leagues have been around. The IPL clearly is the oldest, which ended up inspiring, of course, the rest. The Big Bash League in Australia began a few years later in 2011. The Bangladesh Premier League launched next a year later. So did the Sri Lanka Premier League, but I'll come to that in just a bit. The Caribbean Premier League started in 2013, the Pakistan Super League in 2016. Now, the Sri Lanka Premier League now rebranded as Lanka Premier League, has had a stop-start sporadic stint, but 2020 is when they really changed and rebranded themselves. So while I understand it's only been 8 years since PSL has come to be, the kind of growth it has seen so far has not been very encouraging though, especially when cricket is a prime commodity of any subcontinent country. So what about the profits? What do these leagues make? What's the revenue that they generate? Now, IPL is a money spinner, and we know that it is one of the richest leagues in the world, and of course the richest cricketing league in the world. Their turnover and their revenue since inception has been around $6 billion. That takes into account broadcast deals, sponsorship, and of course it has a wide global fan base. BBL comes in next. They of course generate around $200 million a year, which is substantial enough but still miles away from IPL. Of course, Caribbean Premier League, that comes in next, significantly lower than these two, just about $30 million a year annually. And then we have PSL, Pakistan Super League, just over 30 million, around 30 to 40 million dollars, somewhere in between annually. BPL comes in next, $20 million per year. And then, of course, the Lanka League, that rounds up all of it. Pakistan Super League, despite all its cricketing history, the prowess and the kind of legacy that they have had, clearly battling with its far less experienced neighbors when it comes to the revenue that they need to generate. That's where PSL is languishing. And that comes as little surprise because the success of a league rides on a lot of things. How safe is their country? How developed is their country? The cricketing infrastructure, the venues, the facilities, the success of their national team. Yes, that's important too. How much support can they get from the other associates, because you need players coming in and being part of this league. All of this comes together in pulling off a very successful league. The stadiums themselves are just getting renovated. That's keeping Champions Trophy in mind. In fact, one of the venues crumbled under showers earlier this year when New Zealand came visiting. International standard is required to make any league as popular and a success internationally. So let's highlight that parity as well. This is, of course, the latest, the current season. Rishabh Pant is the highest paid athlete at the Indian Premier League. He's earning $3 million. Then comes in BBL, and that's still a while away, with Darcy Short being the highest paid cricketer. And then, he's still miles away, comes Babar Azam for the PSL, the highest paid cricketer there. He earns 3% of the highest paid salary of an IPL cricketer, which is Rishabh Pant. That's the vast differences between the leagues and IPL compared to PSL. But now Pakistan is adamant to try and shake things up for PSL, wake it up from its slumber. You know what they really mean, and you know that they mean business, because not only are they targeting to rope in the players who went unsold at the IPL auctions in Riyadh this year, they are also aping IPL by trying to take their own player draft, which is set to take place on the 11th of January next year, outside the country, outside Pakistan, like IPL did when they went to Riyadh, or they have before that when they went to Dubai. The window of the PSL also is being shifted to get alongside that of the IPL in 2025. They're trying their best to make their league seem as lucrative as possible. It is about the optics after all, and the cricket will take care of itself. What about the frills? That's what Pakistan is thinking. The country is trying to resurrect its cricketing stature with these moves, standing up to the BCCI and the ICC when it comes to the ICC Champions Trophy hosting rights, and then copying IPL in an attempt to refurbish and resuscitate a languishing PSL. The fact that India players are not available and Pakistan players can't play in IPL was always a huge roadblock for them. But Pakistan is trying to work around these impediments. All of it try and amp up a system that has been dealt a severe blow thanks to their own shortcomings. India has long been waiting for a singles contender at the ATP level, and a player who has shown promise is Sumit Nagal. With a career high rank of 68, the Indian tennis star is slowly trying to break the barriers. Of course, he's had a tough last few months. I spoke to India's #1 ranked tennis singles player just a while back. The 27-year-old reflected on the year that has been, his future goals. In a candid conversation, he also touched upon Rafael Nadal's retirement and what the world can expect from a new partnership. And yes, he also spoke about the controversial Davis Cup episode. Listen in. Joining me today to look back at the year that was and have a candid conversation is India's #1 tennis singles player, Sumit Nagal. How have you been, Sumit? And how would you look back at the year and how did you say it panned out for you from the start to now?
Um, uh, hi. Yeah, been okay. Not great last few months, but I think talking about the year overall was a very good year, a learning year as well. Um, uh, had some really great moments throughout the year, playing the Olympics, winning matches in the slam or the Masters or breaking top 100 in India. I think those were very nice key moments. Currently in Bombay, training, playing the league. Yeah, getting busier and busier.
All right, what was the highlight? If you'd say, if I would ask you to pick one moment from the last 1 year, your best moment, what would that be?
I would say probably breaking top 100 in India in Chennai. I think first time when you break that double digit, or you get to double digit was special for me because I've always been chasing the ranking in that sense. Of course, playing the Olympics, second Olympics, not easy to play in Paris. I had to make sure that I had to win a tournament to make the cut, which I ended up doing, which was also tough, very unique way to do it. Then again, the Masters in Monte Carlo. So there were some moments where it lighted up the year. So yeah, but of course, if you keep playing on the highest tour, you get these chances where 1-2 matches can change your life.
Right. But if I had to ask you, looking ahead, seeing how far you've come and the kind of changes that you will need to bring to your game, or what is it that you'll have to work on to sort of bridge that gap that you're seeing, to improve your ranking next year, what would that be?
Again, I mean, there is few aspects that I need to get better. One being serving, coming to the net. Need to improve my backhand even more. It's getting better and better, but I feel like there's so much of space. Just talking about fitness type, I would say maybe I think endurance where you can just play longer and longer match and recover faster. And mental part will always be there. Nobody's perfect, so everyone goes through some sort of emotions, bad weeks, bad days. So I think too, if I can minimize that during the whole year would be very crucial.
Well, speaking of the mental challenges, of course, we have to address the elephant in the room. There was that incident around the Davis Cup that happened some months ago, and it was all over everywhere in India. It was all over the papers, all over the media. What are your thoughts about that? Where do you stand regarding that matter? And whatever was said about you, if you would, don't want to put you in the spot, but your thoughts on what really transpired.
I mean, nothing. I mean, there's nothing been going on. To be honest, I mean, they can say whatever they want. I mean, I wasn't really playing tennis, so what am I gonna say, right? I mean, I was way more worried about what is gonna happen if I get to play or not the next 3 months. So there was more focus on it. Yeah.
Yes, but how difficult is it to find that balance between your national duty and, of course, being on the circuit, because that's key too.
I don't think it's super tough, to be honest. Yeah, sometimes it makes more sense or less sense, I would say, to play the ATP tour. Um, uh, Obviously, you have to make sure also where your ranking is, what your goals are, because at the end of the day, it's ATP that feeds you. That's where you make the money. Unfortunately, but so you have to be very careful what's in mind. Look at it like sometimes you make the cut at very last spot, and that makes a huge difference in slams and in the masters, because that's where the money is. That's how we make money to afford things for ourselves. So yeah, I mean, sometimes can be tricky, but if I'm available, if I have nothing going on, I'm always up. I'm always looking forward to play. And look at it, like, if you look at it, I have played whenever I'm healthy. I pretty much played all the Davis Cup matches. I played Olympics. I played Asian Games, so I've always been there to represent India.
All right. If I have to ask you about, looking ahead, what's the goal if you think about it? I know we spoke about that locket last time, which you were wearing, and now, of course, there's a fresh year that's beginning. What is that goal, or is there a number that you have to sort of reach?
I still have it. I was very close. Like I said, I was very close to it. If I had won one match, I would have crossed it, but I was not even close to winning that match that day. But I think this year I'm gonna set a goal for 50, not 61 anymore. I do feel like I can make it.
All right, there are a few interesting things that happened this year when you look at tennis as a sport as well, Sumit. One was, of course, Rafael Nadal, him finally bidding farewell. I know it was a long time coming and there was a wait for it to eventually turn out. How emotional was it for you?
Not easy, but in men's tennis, you kind of sense it, that the time is coming close. Unfortunately, so we kind of knew, like, it's coming soon. If it was a sudden, obviously, that's a different impact. But unfortunately, the time comes. You can't run away from it. You can't run away from your body. You can't run away when you wake up the next day. You're like, oh shit, I feel so heavy. Like, you're not recovering the same way. And these legends, they, if they feel like they cannot win tournaments, they don't show up. So that's the thing you have to respect about them the most. They're there to win the tournaments. That's it. And I think for like how much he was struggling and going through last 2-3 years, I think that was the right call. Especially to play in Spain in front of his people. But yeah, big impact on tennis. I saw a lot of people travel from all around the world to support him, and he'll be missed. He'll be missed. Yeah.
Yes, he will be missed. But here's someone who you will see more of despite calling it quits. The other interesting development of the year was, of course, Andy Murray coming on to the coaching box of Novak Djokovic. How interesting is that going to be?
Yeah, it was funny because, like, I'm like, man, Andy just retired. Like, he's already back on tour. It's funny to see, because when you travel for 20-25 years, and then you're back on the tour in 6 months. But that also shows, like how much Andy loved tennis. It's not easy. Trust me, to do what he did for years and years, and to be back on the tour to coach one of the best in the world. That takes a lot of guts. Yeah.
Right, Sumit. Thank you so much for speaking to us and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Time for last serve. South Africa is fighting to end their 3-decade-long Formula One hiatus. The last time they hosted a Grand Prix was in 1993. Watch the country prep the circuit in Johannesburg in the hopes of a revival. What a great boost it will be, especially for the sport and all Formula One fans back in South Africa. But that wraps up Firstpost here today. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care.